Another franchise I would love to see a return to would be Killzone, guys. This was a franchise that really was a really exciting and fun game as far as like from a story perspective, and I think Killzone had a lot of potential there as far as, a continuation is concerned. I remember playing it on the PlayStation 3, and all of a sudden it kind of just disappeared out of nowhere, and we haven't seen a continuation of this franchise in quite some time. So let's talk about, where is Killzone 4, because that would be technically the continuation. Even though Killzone Shadowfall could be considered Killzone 4, I'm going to say Killzone 4 just for to make this a little bit easier for all of us. So let's talk about it. So guys, where's Killzone 4 at this point? Because this is a series that has been actually quite popular, and it's very interesting to see that this is a franchise that has not had a continuation in the series. As far as the release timeline goes, guys, Killzone, the original Killzone, came out in 2004 on the PlayStation 2, and this game was was popular. People were really responding well to it. And then, of course, Killzone 2 came out, and that was on the PlayStation 3 in 2009. So you had a number of years later till you had Killzone 2. And then a couple years after that, Killzone 3, right? Both of which were on the PlayStation 3. And so here's the thing. They're on a pretty good track here. And I think that what might have been the misstep, the kind of changing of the tide, so to speak, where this game was doing well. It was kind of on this upward trend. It was what kind of like, I remember it was a title that was released around the time of like Resistance, and there were some other games that it's just kind of like some of these games just totally disappeared after Killzone Shadowfall had pretty much disappeared after this game kind of released. It came out, of course, in 2013 on the PlayStation 4. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of disappeared out of like thin air pretty much. I mean, sure, it had, I believe it had some DLC and such, but it wasn't a terrible game, but I think that it was kind of a move in the wrong direction. They didn't like really fully, they did kind of continue the franchise by Shadowfall, whereas I think they should have probably just called it Killzone 4 at that point, because technically, it was a launch title, number one, with the PlayStation 4, but it was also a game that was set nearly 30 years after the events of Killzone 3. So I thought that it made more sense to call it Killzone 4, but they didn't. So here's the thing. We got the PS5, guys, coming out later this year, and this is a PlayStation exclusive, essentially. But this definitely is a franchise that deserves to coexist with other games, guys. I mean, this is a great franchise in my personal opinion. We're talking a first-person shooter, guys, that obviously it's owned by Sony. And the thing about it is that Guerrilla Games are the guys who are making the Horizon Zero Dawn. And so you kind of wonder if that's what they are working on at this point, is Horizon Zero Dawn, like the second, continuation of that. And they're kind of putting Killzone on the back burner, so to speak, and not really touching it now for quite some time, which is really sad to me, because I think that this was a really great franchise that had a lot of potential as far as, even moving into, having only one game on the PlayStation 4, and then of course, we're hoping that it comes back for the PS5, but it just looks kind of grim at this point because of, games like Horizon Zero Dawn that are coming out and Killzone. The longer it goes, you just wonder, are they going to kind of do a soft reboot, or are they just going to kind of continue where they left off with Shadowfall? I will say this, guys. Killzone 3, I think, was the peak of the franchise, and then Shadowfall was definitely a step in the wrong direction. In my personal opinion, I thought it wasn't quite as good, but that doesn't mean that I feel like the franchise should not continue, because they all did sell well. And so you kind of wonder, guys, what really, where we're at with this franchise. As you can see from reception, Killzone 2 received critical acclaim upon release with a game ranking score of 90.56 and a Metacritic score of 91 over 100. So 91 out of 100. And then Killzone 3 received positive reviews upon release with game ranking score of 86.38 and a Metacritic score of 84 out of 100. So technically Killzone 2 had a higher score, of course, than Killzone 3, but I thought that they were both very, very well done. Honestly, guys, I really felt that Killzone was moving in a direction that this could be a true competitor as far as a first-person shooter game to some of the biggest shooters out there if they would have just kind of continued it. And I don't understand why necessarily. Like I say, with Killzone Shadowfall, this received mixed to positive reviews with a game ranking score of a 73 and a Metacritic score of 73 out of 100, making it the lowest rated game in the series on both game rankings and Metacritic. Praise was given to the game's visual presentation and multiplayer modes, while criticism was given to the single-player story and AI issues. So, look, sure, Shadowfall was a step in the wrong direction, but I think I can speak for a lot of people. If you're a fan of this franchise and you're within this community and you love Killzone, this should exist within the rest of gaming, the rest of the first-person shooters, without a doubt. I mean, I think that this was, there were reviews, guys, that stated that Black Ops is the only first-person shooter on PlayStation 3 that can match this as far as a game, that being Killzone 3 versus Black Ops at the time. Guys, it was really growing in popularity in a significant way. Number one, being only a PlayStation exclusive, that's going to hurt your fan base. It's going to hurt like growth as a franchise with any game. It doesn't matter. Games like Halo and Gears of War have had their issues because they're only on Xbox. And so when people have to pick and choose, PlayStation obviously has a lot more people on that platform than on Xbox. So Killzone coming out, it's not going to be as big as Call of Duty. It just isn't. But can it be, kind of growing in a way in which it could compete with like Battlefield and some of these other first-person shooters? I don't see why not. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it, guys. I think really what happened, though, is Killzone Shadowfall was kind of that downgrade. And now, hopefully, with Killzone 4, we get a true continuation into the PlayStation 5. But let me know what you guys think about it. I think that where is the game at this point? I think it's in a limbo state, guys, and I think that most likely Guerrilla are the ones that are, probably working on the continuation of Horizon Zero Dawn. But maybe if we as a community want this game brought out and brought back, we have to be the ones voicing that to the developers and the publishers. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Would you guys want to see a Killzone 4? Let me know, guys. And for more Killzone 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.